This is Voice of Korea.
This is Voice of Korea.
This is Voice of Korea.
This is Voice of Korea. Dear listeners, now we start the English language service of Voice of Korea from Pyongyang, the capital of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea.
Now here's mixed chorus, song of General Kim Il-sung. his main course, son of General Kim Jong-il.
The respected Comrade Kim Jong-un, General Secretary of the Workers' Party of Korea and President of the State Affairs of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, visited the training commanding post of the General Staff of the Korean People's Army and learned about the commanding exercises of the whole army on August 29th. He was accompanied by Marshal of the Korean People's Army Park Jong-chol and General Kang Sun-nam, Minister of National Defense. He was met by the Chief of the General Staff and the Director of the General Reconnaissance Bureau of the Korean People's Army at the commanding post. The General Staff of the Korean People's Army, in response to the extremely provocative and dangerous large-scale combined exercises being staged by the United States and military ruffians of the Republic of Korea, simulating an all-out war against the DPRK, has been organizing since August 29th the commanding exercises of the whole army and examining and inspecting the organization of the operation and commanding ability of the officers and staffs of the large combined units and combined units at all levels. Hearing a report from the Chief of the General Staff on the expected actions of the enemy and our forces according to the time and period in case of war, Kim Jong-un learned in detail about how the all-army commanding exercises are organized and executed. He familiarized himself with the intention of the staff of the exercises aimed at repulsing the surprise armed invasion of the enemy, switching over to an overall counterattack, and occupying the whole area of South Korea, and the operational combat plans of the staffs of the large combined units and combined units at all levels for its implementation. He also examined the operational plans of the General Staff, including the plan on the use of frontline and strategic reserve artillery forces in case of emergency, the plan on the formation of the frontline in the enemy's rear, and the plan on frustrating the involvement of overseas forces. He stressed the need to deal a heavy blow at the warring potentiality of the enemy and war commanding centers of the enemy forces at the initial period of the operation, and neutralize the commanding communication means to depress the enemy's spirit, confuse the combat actions, and paralyze the war spirit and capacity of the enemy from early stage. He indicated in detail the tasks, principal demand, and ways to be maintained by the People's Army in the future operational organization and command and war preparations. Noting that the modern warfare is the confrontation of brains, he said the victory and defeat of the war are decided by the brains of the commanding officers before the fighting. He said all the commanding officers of the army must carry out in high intensity the exercise of the staffs and the exercise for the operational combat actions in a real war atmosphere in order to possess skilled organizing ability and outstanding commanding arts, and thoroughly prepare themselves as versatile fighters and full-fledged men of ability, well versed in real war, not in exercise. He said the military moves of the United States and the military hooligans of the Republic of Korea and frequently staged military exercises of different kinds clearly reveal the aggressive attempt against the DPRK and stressed once again the need to strictly resist them. Kim Jong-un gave important instructions for further intensifying the operational commanding exercise and actual war maneuvers of the army in accordance with the prevailing circumstances of the state security and the demand of the situation, and clarify the overall tasks and ways for perfecting the war preparations. Report of the General Staff of the Korean People's Army. The U.S. imperialists sent the formation of the strategic nuclear bomber B-1B to the sky of the Korean East and West Seas and staged combined attacking formation drill against the DPRK together with the fighters of the military ruffians of the Republic of Korea on August 30th. The recent drill, conducted at the time when the enemy's adventurous war exercise Ultra-Freedom Shield reached the climax, is precisely aimed at the preemptive nuclear attack at the DPRK, which poses a grave threat to us. Opening it to the public, the enemy loudly advertised it as the demonstration of the execution of extended war deterrent. It is little different from the fact that they declare to the world that they made a preemptive nuclear attack at us as a fait accompli and are materializing it in reality. Under this situation, the Korean People's Army conducted at night of August 30th the tactical nuclear striking drill, simulating the devastation of the major commanding centers and operational airfields of the military ruffians of the Republic of Korea. The Tactical Nuclear Operation Unit in the Western Sector staged military actions concerned. 2 tactical ballistic missiles launched at the Pyongyang International Airport into the northeastern direction were exploded at a fixed height of 400 meters in the air above the target island, correctly carrying out the nuclear striking task. The recent drill is to send a warning signal to the enemy who challenge us with such military threats as the deployment of strategic nuclear assets despite our repeated warning, and make them clearly realize once again our definite will for punishment and practical retaliatory capacity. The Korean People's Army will never tolerate the reckless acts of the U.S. forces and military ruffians of the Republic of Korea. August 30th, Juche 112 or 2023. The 27th plenary session of the 14th Standing Committee of the Supreme People's Assembly of the DPRK was held at the Mansudae Assembly Hall on the 30th. It was presided over by Chae Ryong-hae, member of the Presidium of the Political Bureau of the Central Committee of the Workers' Party of Korea, and first Vice Chairman of the State Affairs Commission and Chairman of the Standing Committee of the Supreme People's Assembly of the DPRK. Present at the session were Kang Yoon-seok and Kim Ho-chol, Vice Chairman, Go Gil-sun, Secretary General, and members of the Standing Committee of the Supreme People's Assembly. Also on hand as observers were officials of the Standing Committee of the Supreme People's Assembly and officials concerned of the Secretariat of the Cabinet, Ministries and National Agencies. Put on the agenda items were the issues on convening the session of the Supreme People's Assembly of the DPRK, adopting the law on state commendation, the law on distribution of productive force, the law on organization of prosecution organ, the law on tourism, and the law on commodity distribution, and on revising and supplementing the law on election of deputies to the People's Assemblies at all levels. The draft resolution of the Standing Committee of the Supreme People's Assembly on the convocation of the 9th session of the 14th Supreme People's Assembly of the DPRK was deliberated and a relevant decision adopted with unanimous approval. A report was made on the laws concerned, and the main content of the amended and supplemented bill examined at the Legislation Committee of the Supreme People's Assembly. The session examined the agenda items and adopted the decrees on adopting the DPRK law on state commendation, on adopting the DPRK law on distribution of productive force, on adopting the DPRK law on organization of prosecution organs, on adopting the DPRK law on tourism, on adopting the DPRK law on commodity distribution, and on amending and supplementing the DPRK law on the election of deputies to the People's Assemblies at all levels. The Standing Committee of the Supreme People's Assembly of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea made public decision number 235 on the convocation of the Supreme People's Assembly of the DPRK on the 30th. According to the decision, the 9th session of the 14th Supreme People's Assembly of the DPRK will be convened in Pyongyang on September the 26th, Juche 112 or 2023. The Standing Committee of the Supreme People's Assembly of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea made public notice on the convocation of the Supreme People's Assembly of the DPRK on the 30th. The notice informed the deputies to the Supreme People's Assembly of the convocation of the 9th session of the 14th Supreme People's Assembly in Pyongyang on September the 26th, Juche 112 or 2023. It says the session will discuss the issues on examining and adopting the law on ensuring the rights of the disabled, law on irrigation, and law on civil servants, the issue on the reviewing of execution of law in the financial sector, and the organizational issue. The deputies shall be registered on September the 25th, Juche 112 or 2023, it noted. Dozens of young people in South Pyongyang province volunteered to work in the socialist countryside and coal mines. Those in Dokcheon and Gyecheon cities and Bokchang County volunteered to work at coal mines, and those in Pyeongseong City and Unsan and Hyecheon counties at farms. A meeting was held at the South Pyongyang Provincial House of Culture on August the 24th to congratulate the volunteers to difficult sectors of socialist construction. Present at the meeting were Jang Gi-chul, Secretary of the South Pyongyang Provincial Committee of the Workers' Party of Korea, officials of the Youth League, and young people. Certificates were awarded to the volunteers and congratulatory address and speeches made. Officials and young people encouraged the volunteers. The State Stamp Bureau issued new stamps on the occasion of the 75th founding anniversary of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. Seen on the upper part of the stamps are the embossed letters, 75th founding anniversary of the DPRK. The single stamp carries a photo of the great leader Kim Il-sung making public a platform of the government of the Republic at the first session of the Supreme People's Assembly of the DPRK in September 37 or 1948, and under it the letters reading, "Noblest respect and highest glory to the great leader Kim Il-sung, founder and builder of the Republic." Seen on the individual stamp are the national flag and emblem, the dignity and symbol of the state, Hwasongpyeong missiles representing the strategic armed forces of the Republic, and gigantic creations including new streets in the capital city, wonderfully built as monumental structures for the people in the era of the Workers' Party. Marine resources are protected and multiplied in Korea. Tens of millions of fry have been discharged into the rivers and seas this year. The Chika Atlantic Salmon Pedigree Farm drastically increased the survival rate and weight ratio of fry by introducing advanced breeding technique and stocked rivers and streams with hundreds of thousands of young Atlantic salmon. The Gomalsan Offshore Atlantic Salmon Farm produced 1.3 million fry of pollock and flatfish by introducing advanced breeding methods, and the Chongjin Fishery Station stocked the sea with fry as planned. The Yanghwa Fishery Station created favorable conditions for fry growing and released 3.5 million fry to the sea. The Hongwon and Songdo-won fishery stations solved the CITEC problems arising in the fry production to breed a lot of codlings and young flatfish. And that's the end of the news read by Magum Song. This is Voice of Korea. Now we present the female solo in Bangchang, O Tender-Hearted Father.
Please enjoy guitar solo. We have waited for you.
Now you will appreciate the song, We Cannot Live Without Him. Feeling his intimacy flowing into our hearts are always warm with his breath. Attracted by his great benevolence and trust, all of us live following him. We cannot live without him, Kim Jong-un. We cannot live without him. Our destiny, Kim Jong-un. We cannot live without him.
싱그러진 그저 가슴에 흘러 사납게만 그 숨결로 따뜻한 마음 하늘 같은 인덕과 믿음에 끌려 우리 모두 그유산에 그리 없이 못 살아 김정방지 그리 없이 못 살아 우리 못 살아 우리 운명 김정은 방지 그이 없으면 우린 못 살아 우리 마음 우리 나이 잘 알고 그런지만 우리 행복 지켜주시는 나를 펴는 실망도 품새원도 저 품에서 모두 피해 그이 없이 못 살아 김정은 공지 그이 없이 못 살아 우린 못 살아 우리 운명 김정은 공지 그이 없으니 우린 못 살아
You enjoy the trumpet trio. We feel sick for his warm embrace. Now you listen to female solo in Pangchang, Mother's Voice. To make theirs the most popular product. The Una Fructose factory is one of those units which have distinguished themselves at the national trade fairs in recent years. The factory produces hundreds of kinds of foodstuffs including drinks, confectionery, bread, chocolate, and processed meats, which are popular among the Korean people. Officials, technicians, and workers of the factory learn about the people's demand regularly, and on this basis, set proper goals for developing new products and direct primary efforts to improving the quality of products. Especially, they regard the functional foodstuffs conducive to the promotion of the people's health as the main indices and push ahead with their production persistently. The factory developed more than 130 kinds of functional foodstuffs last year to be highly estimated at a number of exhibitions and was awarded the special prize at the Spring National Trade Fair 2023. The products of the factory made of peanuts, walnuts, eggplant, sesame, fruits of black chocoberry, and Shizandra chinensis and other nutritious and efficacious raw materials won popularity from the first day of each exhibition. Those successes are associated with the efforts of the employees to make the top-notch products of the factory the most popular ones. The employees are dropping at shops and counters in different places and share comments of buyers on the products of the factory to be referred to in the improvement of their quality and the development of new products. It is said that a lot of recent new products of the factory have been developed on the basis of the ideas of technicians and skilled workers. The development of famous goods gets more active at the factory as the days go by, and growing are the people's expectation for an interest in the Deha trademark products, which will become better.
So far you've been listening to an account titled "To Make Theirs the Most Popular Products." This is Voice of Korea. Here is the National Instrumental Ensemble, Sweet Briar. Now we bring you the female solo in downtown, My Mind.
저 하늘 새까맣게 빛을 뿌리며 살아왔던가 내 마음 소곡을 위해 밝은 빛을 뿌려왔던가 나 키워준 푸른 어머니 소곡 없인 내 삶도 없어 아시렵니다 불타는 사랑 끝없는 나의 소곡에 언제나 반짝이기를 저 하늘의 빛으로 흐르는 강물과 같이 험한 가비도 흐려먹던가 내 마음 소곡을 위해 수없이 달려왔던가 꿈을 덮여준 행복이 유라 소곡 없인 가정도 없어 아시렵니다 소원 피웠다 소녀하는 나의 소곡이 언제나 지못해 그 비치는 강물처럼 속에 묻혀 있어도 휴남이 없는 버섯빛처럼 내 한생 애국인 마음 아름답게 간직하리라 생물 빛내준 위대한 그품 소금 없는 미래도 없어 아시렵니다 나의 모든 것 소름 덮은 나의 소리 주님 내 진정 바치렵니다. 내 진정 바치렵니다.
Dear listeners, with this we conclude the English language service of Voice of Korea from the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. Voice of Korea presents its English language service for Europe between 15 and 16 hours UTC, between 18 and 19 hours UTC, between 21 and 22 hours UTC, and between 13 and 14 hours UTC on 13,760 kHz and 15,235 kHz. For North America, between 15 and 16 hours UTC and between 13 and 14 hours UTC on 9,435 kHz and 11,710 kHz. And for Northeast Asia, between 4 and 5 hours UTC and between 6 and 7 hours UTC on 7,220 kHz, 9,445 kHz, and 9,730 kHz. Goodbye, this is Pyongyang.